Hello everyone. You might be surprised by looking at the topic saying that symmetry and group theory and power of 3. How would I relate symmetry and group theory to a concept called as 3? Now let's understand one important thing. Symmetry is one of the most beautiful and interesting topics in chemistry. And how does this symmetry arise? We'll just have a look at it. All this universe is made up of some fundamental particles. There are two important things that make up the universe. One is the fundamental particles and the other ones are the forces that bind these particles. Now if at all I consider the fundamental particles, simply we say that an atom is made up of nucleus and electrons. Nucleus has lot of material in it, but the most important nuclear material, they are protons and neutrons. But if I just dive in deep into a proton or if I dive deep into a neutron, what I would find is quarks. This is known to everyone. Every proton or every neutron is made up of fundamental particles which are called as quarks. That is a Nobel work for which a Nobel has been awarded. There are 3 quarks that make up a proton or 3 quarks that make up a neutron. So we expect a power of 3, it is starting with 3. Now when these quarks make up, usually we cannot see the color because these are so minute particles that it will not catch up our wavelength, whatever we see with our naked eye. But whatever color that they could see with the different types of microscopes, they say that it is white colored. And the white color of this quark combination can only be due to 3 primary colors. So what exactly are these? Are the fundamental particles. 3 quarks. Okay. Now these 3 quarks, each of which must be made up of one of these 3 colors. Suppose if one quark is made up of red, the other must be green and the third must be blue, their combination has to give white color altogether. So these 3 are primary colors and again it is a power of 3. Whenever I discuss about an atom, the most important things that every student think about is a proton, neutron and an electron. There are also other fundamental particles which we need not discuss, but the most important material that we want is proton, neutron and electron. Again it is around 3. Well, if you can create such topics, some emotions will be created in you, and as science say that the more emotional you become when you read any subject or any topic, the better you can remember it. Well, now with this I'll just give you one more point. Let it be any number of quarks. If I choose a hydrogen, within that hydrogen there is a proton and that proton will have 3 quarks. Out of these 3 quarks, 2 will be up quark, 1 will be a down quark. There are about millions and billions of hydrogens in this universe. I'll just choose one of these hydrogens. And if I test the proton of any of these hydrogens, any proton would definitely have 2 up quarks and 1 down quark, but it is not the different type of arrangement. You will never find 2 down and 1 up, that would make up a neutron. So it is that symmetrical arrangement or the pattern arrangement that is found in each and every entity of this universe. This universe will never miss such a pattern. It will always construct any hydrogen with that same constituent. You choose any neon or you choose any oxygen of this complete universe, that constituent will never change. That is called as a symmetrical arrangement or the patterns with which nature will construct the whole universe. To understand this pattern of the arrangement, we take up a unit called as symmetry and then we relate it to group theory so that we can study some other qualitative characteristics regarding the molecules. So this is leading up to symmetry. And symmetry of molecules is more important. I can choose any chemical entity, let it be an ion, atom, orbital, molecule, anything. Any chemical entity can be taken to study its symmetry. Well, when I say any entity, just imagine that this is one chemical entity. I want to study about the symmetry or the patterns that are present in this particular chemical entity. The first thing that I require is to understand that this particular chemical entity is present in the space. The space, we call it as a 3-dimensional space. What are these three dimensions? We represent it by three Cartesian coordinates x, y and z. By convention, x is imagined to be facing towards you. Supposing that if I choose this, you can think that this is x towards you, y towards your right and left, and z is up and down. So x is towards you and away from you. These are the three conventional axes, x, y and z, three different axes. Whatever molecule that we want to study, we have to study within the purview of these three spatial dimensions. We call it as spatial dimensions. These are spatial dimensions, and within these three xyz dimensions I can have only three different motions or three different movements. What are these three different movements? We can see. One, from here I can move along the x-axis towards you or away from you. This is one movement. Or from that point I can move towards my right or I can move towards my left. This is a second motion or a second movement. The third one is from a point I can move up and down along the z-axis. So these are the only three movements that I can make in the space. So we call them as spatial coordinates, which is defined by x, y and z. Again, these are three. So these we call them as spatial coordinates. Now if I want to define these spatial coordinates with the help of some planes, then any of the two spatial coordinates would form a plane. So the spatial coordinates x and y, this is called as a xy plane, right? And then x, this is x and z, this will form xz plane. And right, the last one is y, this is z, and this will form a yz plane. So xy plane, xz plane and yz plane. Altogether there will be three planes. You can see again three. You don't go for fourth coordinate. Well, once I try to understand the symmetry or pattern of a particular molecule, to understand or to operate the symmetry elements or the operations, we need to have some prerequisites. What are these prerequisites for understanding symmetry? All these come under the basics of symmetries. Basically, we require three prerequisites. What are these prerequisites? Requirements. First one, whatever molecule that I ask you to find out the pattern or the symmetry present in it, you must have a decent knowledge of its structure or the geometry, without which you cannot operate the symmetry elements. Imagine I have given you H2O. I will ask you to get the symmetry elements of it and you draw it as a linear structure. Then you would go wrong definitely, because you must have a decent idea about its structure or the geometry. That is the first prerequisite. Once you are aware of a structure, then you should also know the center of gravity of that particular molecule. Say that I have given you a water molecule, I asked you to pass a rotational axis of symmetry, then you pass it from hydrogen or you pass it through the bond between oxygen and hydrogen, then you will definitely go wrong. Because once a structure is known, you have to identify where exactly the center of gravity lie in the molecule. That will lie with oxygen. Once you have known that it is lying in the oxygen, again where do you pass the rotational axis from? Is it along x, y or z? You should know the proper orientation. Once you know the proper orientation from where you are passing the symmetry elements, then you can successfully get all the symmetry elements present in it. And once you derive all the symmetry elements, put it as a group, that will form a point group. So you should have an idea about the three prerequisites, right? We have also completed the prerequisites. Next, the most important point. Just suppose that there is a medical doctor who wants to perform an operation. There is a surgery which is to be done. To perform this surgery, the doctor or the surgeon, they need some equipment. They may require a scissors, or they may require a scalpel or a blade, they may require a needle and several other instruments. Just in a similar way, I am a chemist, I want to study the patterns that are present in a given molecule or any chemical entity. To study them, I require some elements, basic elements with which I can study the patterns of or the symmetry of the molecule. So importantly, there are three basic symmetry elements. All these are just basics which will create some interest in you. But this is the most important one with respect to symmetry. And these are the three basic symmetry elements. how many symmetry elements are there means basically there are three. One is axis, the second one is plane, the third one is a point. We simply call it as AB, symmetry AB. You have several ABs just in a similar way. You require three basic symmetry elements. One we call it as an axis, the another one is called as a plane, the third one is called as a point, which are the basic three symmetry elements. Axis and a perpendicular plane can give rise to a fourth symmetry element, which we call it as a improper axis or alternating axis, because one is being alternated by another, rotation being alternated by a perpendicular reflection, or reflection will be alternated by a perpendicular rotation. But both operations must be perpendicular to one another, because we have several different types of planes, out of which I am choosing only that plane which is perpendicular to the principal axis. So that is giving you a fourth element, which is a secondary element, that is not a basic or a primary element. Above all, we have another kind of element. I'll easily define it. I am Dr. Shashikant, right? I am in Hyderabad right now. Just say that tomorrow I go to US, and even when I go to US, I'll be still identified as Dr. Shashikant, or I may go to Norway, or I may go to Germany, Europe. Wherever I go, I'll be still identified as Dr. Shashikant. So wherever I go, I'm not losing my identity. Suppose I got sleep, then I'm just sleeping, imagine. Even then, my identity is not lost. So whether I'm sleeping, whether I'm awakened, whether I'm in US, Europe, or whether I'm in Hyderabad, India, wherever I go, my identity is maintained. And that identity is giving me an element called as identity element. So that is forming a fifth element, which is innate. You need not remember it again and again. So basically, how many symmetry elements means three: axis, plane, and a point. Most important thing with respect to symmetry and group theory. With the help of axis, what can I do? It is just like a surgeon is having a scissors. With scissors, can he sew? No, he cannot sew, but he can cut. Just in a similar way, when I am having a symmetry element called as an axis, with respect to this axis, I can perform an operation called as rotation. With respect to a plane that I pass through the center of gravity of a molecule, I can perform an operation called as reflection. And with the help of a point, which is through the center of gravity of the molecule, I can perform an operation called as inversion. So for three basic symmetry elements, we have three basic symmetry operations. All these three are called as symmetry operations. So how many symmetry elements means basically three. Altogether five. How many symmetry operations? Basically three. Later, I am rotating a molecule. While I rotate a molecule, just imagine that the molecule is present in its original configuration. Let me choose a trigonal bipyramidal molecule. Before rotation, I am just taking this as its original configuration, how it is as it is. Okay. Later on, I start to rotate it. Now when I have rotated by 120 degree, you can say this is its original configuration, but as I rotate, it is coming into an indistinguishable configuration from the original one. And this indistinguishable configuration is called as equivalent configuration. This is just equivalent or similar to the original one. And when I rotate by another 120, third 120, I get a configuration which is just looking the same as the original one, which I call it as a identical configuration. So altogether, how many different configurations are there means? Three different configurations. One is called as original configuration, from where we start. Later on, we get some indistinguishable configuration, or which is a similar configuration. These are similar. And finally, I get to some other configuration which is called as identical configuration, which is same as that of the original configuration. For every molecule, you need not get equivalent configuration, that depend. But basically, there are three different types of orientations or configuration. How the molecule is oriented in a space, or how it is configured in a space. That is giving you three different terminology: original, equivalent, and identical. Well, if I choose a rotation, reflection, or inversion with respect to plane, or we have a operation called as reflection, how many planes are present means, again we have three different types of planes. The plane which is parallel to the principal axis is a vertical plane. The plane that is perpendicular to the principal axis is called as a horizontal plane, and a plane that bisects a dihedral angle is called as a dihedral plane. So there are three different planes, three different orientations, three different symmetry operations, three different symmetry elements, three spatial coordinates, three planes that are defining these spatial coordinates, three prerequisites to understand this symmetry, and well, these are known to you. So this is the power of 3. Whatever topic that you are assigned with, if you can study with a great emotion and with a great interest, we will remember that topic for a very long time. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.